All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA regular season video. In this video, we're going to talk about some games from the last couple days. A little old news, but I wanted to get my thoughts out there about the games as I've been doing all season. So if you like what I say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. In this video, primarily, we're going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics and Jayson Tatum's return. We're going to talk about the Spurs beating the Houston Rockets very convincingly, and it seems as if the Spurs are hovering above um, that different echelon of the top three teams. And we're going to talk about the Nuggets versus the Thunder from last night. All very exciting games, all very interesting games. I have a lot of thoughts about all three of them. We're going to sprinkle some other games in there as well. So, yeah, let's just jump right into it. So, yeah, this first game, the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. The Celtics ended up winning this game 120 points to the Dallas Mavericks, flat 100 points. And primarily in this game, I want to talk about Jayson Tatum's return. 10 months back after a Achilles injury, very historic, very notable for that reason. And I want to preface my criticism of Jayson Tatum with guys coming off an Achilles injury. It's going to take him a while to get back to being himself. And it took him a while throughout this game to get back to being himself. He almost didn't score the first 2 quarters of this game, the whole first half. And then at the end of the second quarter, he finally got a dunk and he finally got a rhythm heading into the third quarter. Hit a couple threes, had a couple plays where he got himself to the basket. And overall, I will say one of the things that you kind of know when you have an Achilles injury or a devastating knee injury, you're never the same defensively. And it's a very small sample size for Jayson Tatum, and it's early. It's very early, but he wasn't flying around the court like he used to. And the defense that Jayson Tatum always had in his game might not ever return. And I still think he can be a very elite post defender. I think given the matchup, he can still be a very good one-on-one defender. But the way he used to just fly around the court, move around the court, going from one side to the other, doing all this stuff. Um, I don't know if he has that in him anymore. He was a bit precautious with the leg that he injured. He wasn't really giving it, at times he was giving it like a full, I'd say about 90%. Um, Other times he really wasn't giving it even, I would say, like 70%. Like he was, every time he would dunk, he would kind of come down kind of slow. When he'd go back up the court, he'd go up kind of slow. Just getting used to being in full game speed again. And it was interesting to watch because some of the stuff with him as a point forward is still very interesting. A forward that distributes the ball, that moves the ball around, gets his teammates involved. He did a lot of that. I should tell you the box score, the numbers he had in this game. He ended the game 27 minutes, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, almost a triple double. 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls, 3 of 8 from three, and 6 of 16 overall from field goal in 27 minutes. He was not on a minutes restriction at all, so he could play as much as he wanted, or as little as he wanted. And head coach Joe Mazzulla of the Boston Celtics just let him go out there and play. And I thought there was some interesting stuff with him where him and Jaylen Brown, top left corner of your screen, um, obviously very close in age, and they used to be very close in athleticism. And as I was watching this game, you see Jaylen Brown's literally right now in this moment at the peak of his powers. Like this is the best version of Jaylen Brown we've ever seen. And obviously Jason Tatum's coming back from this injury. Um, but I I'm hesitant, or it's an awkward conversation because you see Jaylen is just so much more athletic than Jason now, and I don't think Jason is gonna get back there, and it's kind of sad. But there was so much positives about his game still. Before this injury, he was already like this so much well-rounded player. He was so well-rounded. He was so um, instrumental to everything the Celtics did, both offensively and defensively. And I think the role for him is going to be, especially these next, I'll say 6 months of active basketball. I think it will only be this time next year that we'll see what Jayson Tatum really is, coming back from this injury, if there are no setbacks in it, or another injury that he has. And it's very early on, but the people that were saying, like this might be Jaylen Brown's team now, I might be able to hop on that train. And I'm talking as somebody who was never really a big Jayson Tatum fan, but I liked his game a lot. I like what he did. I didn't always like his shot selection. I didn't always like the way he operated in the post. I felt like he was trying to be somebody that he really isn't. When his game is just being an all around superstar glue guy in the past, he can still be a glue guy. He can still be an all-star level player, but I don't know if he's going to reach those peaks that he would have if he didn't have that Achilles injury. And I think the Jaylen Brown, this pseudo being his team, and um, him being the de facto sort of number one at this point. We'll see where Jayson Tatum is in 6 months, and then we'll see where he is this time next year, if those things hold true. But Jaylen Brown being your number one doesn't look so bad anymore, and Jayson Tatum still a hell of a play being your number two. Them just swapping roles isn't bad for the Celtics, and Jayson Tatum comes back at a very critical time for this Boston Celtics team. They've been coasting. I'll use coasting lightly through the season. 42 and 21 on the season, 21 and 10 at home. A super solid team. Um, a playoff deep playoff run team, a championship level team. I don't know. There are some nights where they just have enough. Like there's literally just enough on this team. There is like some other components that you wish you would have on a championship team if you were really going for it this year, but otherwise, this team is going to be a pain in the ass for anybody to play. And they have everybody's number in the East. They have Jayson Tatum coming back at least, well, I'll say right now about like 85% of himself. And 85% of Jayson Tatum isn't bad. I'm going through some of the numbers for this night. Mezqueda, 16 points, 15 rebounds. Good night for him. Derek White, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. 207 from 3, not the greatest from there that night. And then Jaylen Brown, 24 points, 205 from 3, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 turnovers, 2 steals, and a pretty solid night from the. I guess this is what they're gonna. Yeah, this is the lineup they're gonna run out most nights. The starting five: Kada, White, Brown, Hauser, and Tatum. I like this lineup a lot. There are some looming sort of issues with this team. They don't really have a center. Nikola Vucevic is gonna miss the regular. Gonna miss the gonna miss the rest of the duration of the regular season, with a thumb finger injury. He fractured his finger. He's going to be out for a little while. He was their big mid-season acquisition, and for him to get injured, at this point, I guess if you're going to get injured, now is the good time to do it because he'll probably be back and healthy for the postseason. But for the remainder of this regular season, they're going to be out a real backup center. I don't love Luka Garza as a backup, but he's shown enough. But they have plenty of forwards and guards. Peyton Pritchard, 18. Baylor Shireman, 5. Hugo Gonzalez, 6. They got a bunch of stuff out there, so I'm not too worried about them. And then on this side for the Mavericks, um, this game was interesting because the Mavericks stayed in this game just about long enough to say, okay, we tried enough. Now we need to remember we're tanking for a good lottery pick this year. um, Not a great night from anybody. Cooper Flag struggled, only 16 points, took 4 threes, made none of them, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers. Max Christie, 12 points, Najee Marshall, 13, Brandon Williams, 11, and Klay Thompson. Leading scorer for the team, 19. I didn't even realize that when I was watching the game. He did look at least somewhat like the old Klay Thompson, but only for bits and spurts and tiny moments of this game. Yeah. Um, the other thing I wanted to note, and what made me think that we'll never see this defensive monster of Jayson Tatum ever again, was Jayson Tatum was getting cooked by Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton's not a scrub by any means, but he's not the Chris Middleton that was an all-star. He's kind of washed up at this point. And he he was taking Tatum to school. He was. There were some moments they were like, "Oh, Jayson, oh," and you like like cringe a little bit, like, "Oh, Jayson, no, no," like, I don't know. But that was the other thing that was the genesis of my thought of maybe Jayson Tatum isn't going to be that good defensively. And you try to think about this game and the people involved in this game, and you look at um, a guy like where is he? Klay Thompson, who also tore his Achilles. What was that now? Jeez, that was, oh man, that was 7 years ago now, something like that. Maybe, yeah, 7 years ago. Yeah, yeah, 7 years ago. Yeah, because he had the knee injury and when he was rehabbing from the knee, he tore his Achilles. So, yeah, it was 7 years ago now. Um, Klay Thompson never got back to that defensive version that um, we all came to know. Um, Heading on to the back end of his career. The good thing for Jayson Tatum is that he was sort of in his prime and he could sort of maybe recover some semblance of what he used to be. Because he is young, he is healthy, and if he stays healthy for the man of his career, he's still gonna have a Hall of Fame career. You also a good note to end this portion of the video, or not this portion of the video on, yeah, is Kyrie was at this game. Kyrie Irving, um, former Boston Celtics guard, current Dallas Mavericks guard. Him and Jayson were very close in their time in Boston, even though they were fighting for the two different eras of Celtics basketball. And it was just a good it was good vibes to see Kyrie and Jayson back together for a moment at the end of the game. They shared a couple words, and it it, 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 it it was surreal because you never realize how much time has passed between the time that Kyrie was in Boston to now, and where both of their careers have gone, and they're both champions, and they're both great players in their own right, and it was like a surreal moment for me, at least as somebody who's been watching this game. And I remember how many Boston Celtics fans hated Kyrie, and now they're sort of begrudgingly he's okay, sort of thing. Um, Moving on to a game that will breeze by very quickly, the San Antonio Spurs versus the Los Angeles Clippers. San Antonio Spurs won this game in a huge comeback, one of their better comebacks of the season, and one of their better comebacks historically, if I'm not misspeaking. They came back from almost down like 24, I believe the number was. The final score 116 to the LA Clippers 112. Clippers meltdown kind of helped them, but it was a I rewatched this game and it was kind of crazy that the Clippers almost beat this really competitive Spurs team, who I'm going to talk about in a minute, who's almost levitating above um, everybody else in their conference except the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Spurs are looming very, very rapidly. They're looming above the conference. Like if the Oklahoma City falters at any point, the Spurs are going to take the crown. Um, so yeah, really good win for them there. That was March 6th. That was on March 6th. We move on to the team I was just referring to, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have also been on a stretch here where it's been a mixed bag, but they've managed to pull out some really tough games. And this tough game was against the Golden State Warriors, who they almost lost to. Um, and Oklahoma was at home, and the Golden State Warriors showed up. They showed up. Um, they did lose this game, however, 97 points to Oklahoma's 104. It was a valiant effort from the um, where was I? Um, Talking about the Golden State Warriors versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is the same lineup that we're going to talk about for Oklahoma in a second. That beat the Denver Nuggets, but they equally almost lost to the Golden State Warriors, which is so weird. The starting lineup for this Oklahoma City Thunder team for a stretch now here, they've been without Chet Holmgren, they have been without Isaiah Hartenstein, and the lineup that Mark Dagnall cooked up here is very interesting. So it's Shai Alexander, um, Isaiah Joe, or it's Shai Alexander, Kason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort, and like Jalen Williams. Jalen, Jayln Williams. Um, and for some reason it works. Um, I did not watch this game. I kept up with it on my phone via the scorecard, and it went pretty deep into the game where the Golden State Warriors almost won. Looking at the breakdown, the score breakdown, quarter by quarter, the Oklahoma City Thunder outscored the Warriors almost every quarter except the third quarter, and they only outscored the Warriors by 4 in the fourth quarter. So, the tale of two halves, I guess. And yeah, we'll get back to Oklahoma. I have some more thoughts about them, but we'll talk about them later in the video. The next game, the one that we're winding down here, and this one was yesterday. Was this yesterday? Was this? No, this wasn't yesterday. This was the 8th. Yeah, this was the 8th. This was a few days ago now. But a game nonetheless. And this one was so. How do you say? I don't want to say entertaining because I say that a lot. It was captivating. That's the word I'm looking for. It's captivating. It was captivating for numerous reasons, but the biggest one was that this game exposed, kept exposing, or keep it has pushed the narrative, or not even pushed the narrative, just put on showcase what's wrong with the Houston Rockets and why they aren't in that upper echelon of like Western Conference teams, even though they have the talent to be, and why the San Antonio Spurs, this young team, who just seem to have a little bit of everything, and maybe the only thing you could criticize them is having a surplus of guards and not enough minutes to give those guards. That's the only thing you can really criticize this team of, and then maybe the coach a little bit, like I have. But this game was such a dissection of the Houston Rockets because the Spurs won this game 145 to the Houston Rockets 120, and they did it with every position. Um, this Rockets team, as we theorized in the beginning of the preseason, um, was going to go big some nights, and they were going to go without a point guard, and that's what they did this night. They started Ahmed Thompson, Tari Eason, um, Jabari Smith, Kevin Durant, and Alperen Şengün. They were fully healthy. There was no, I don't think there was anybody missing. Anybody? Yeah, okay. um, and it looked okay for about a couple minutes, and then the Rockets kind of got flustered. This lineup didn't end up working when it needed to work, and the San Antonio Spurs said, "We're never going to try to match that lineup. We're just going to throw our best players out there, and that's what we're going to do. And we're going to have three guys in 20-point games. Well, pardon me, four guys with 20-point games, almost five. Um, how many guys in double digits? One, two, three, four, five, six guys in double digits. And we're gonna just shoot a bunch of threes, um, punish you on the glass with our 7 footer because you don't have a 7 footer, and we're gonna kill you with our athleticism and our youth. And that's exactly what happened. A superb game from Victor Wembanyama, 29 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, um, 2 steals, 4 blocks, and only one personal foul in 30 minutes. Amazing game. De'Aaron Fox, 20 points. De'Aaron Fox has low key, like, subtly had a really good year. Like, he doesn't have to do too much, he doesn't have to do too little. When he just gives you like 20 and 10 assists, he makes, he's the, what's it called? The spoon that stirs the drink. He just stirs it. He doesn't need to do anything crazy. There's so much depth on this team. And when they're all going, they're all going. Stephon Castle, 23, Keldon Johnson, 20, and then Dylan Harper, 19. Dylan Harper, the second half of the season, has been really good for the Spurs team. He's found his 3-point shot. He looks really confident out there for being what, like, was he like the second pick, the third pick? Um, just getting to develop on the bench, and then in the second half of the season be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna start playing basketball really well now. Has been impressive because at some points he looked kind of lost out there, but he found his footing. He found his role on this team, and you know, deeper into the future, we'll see if a backcourt of Stephon Castle and um, Dylan Harper works. But for right now, that question doesn't have to be answered. The backcourt of De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle currently is working and is one of the better backcourts, especially against a team like the Rockets who are going to try to beat you with size and try to defend you with size and switchability. Both those players, Castle and Fox, abuse that mentality all night. And with the Rockets, I've been sort of wary of these last couple weeks after All Star break and even before All Star break because it feels like they should be better. And I like Ime Udoka as a coach. I really do. I thought he was really good as the Celtics coach. He landed here in Houston, um, coached a really young, competitive Rockets team previous to the arrival of Kevin Durant. And I don't want to say it's Kevin's fault. I don't think it's Kevin's fault because they needed a guy like Kevin. They needed a guy to get buckets because this team had no bucket getters really, except outside Fred VanVleet, who was very inconsistent. Um, and they just haven't found the rotations feel weird. Like they're like Ime's trying to grasp at straws and like he throws Reed Shepherd out there and he gives you 17 some nights and some nights he'll give you 7. He throws Josh Okogie out there and Josh I don't even remember the last time Josh Okogie had a good game. And then like he threw like Aaron Holiday out there for 8 minutes, gave him 5 points, took 3 threes, made none of them, and then pulled them. And it's like there's just like the names pop out on you. The name recognition on this team is really good for this Rockets team. And then once you watch them and like they finally have Dorian Finney-Smith back, who's been healthy, can't play basketball anymore. Just can't. He's bad at basketball now. When he was a really good defender and he was a knockdown shooter in the corner, and he just hasn't found his rhythm on this Rockets team. And he was supposed to be a really big part of this Rockets team. He was supposed to start. He was a starting caliber player before his injury, and Dorian Finney-Smith has just not been able to regain that footing on this team or in his career. Period. Right now, it's crazy. Um, if I had to sum up this Rockets season and why they're not going to the Western Conference Finals or why they're not more successful and why the clock is ticking even more now than ever, because Kevin Durant's on a shorter term deal and this is probably it for Kevin Durant playing basketball. Um, Bad luck. Literally bad luck. I'm not gonna say Dorian Finney-Smith's the worst offseason signing because the Lakers and DeAndre and take that one by a landslide. Um, but getting one of the worst offseason acquisitions in Dorian Finney-Smith, uh, Reed Shepherd being inconsistent, Fred VanVleet being out, Ahmed Thompson not taking that leap, Shangoon sort of kind of being inconsistent. I get this game was against Victor Wembanyama, and Victor Wembanyama is just in a different stratosphere from Shangoon. Um, the stuff that Shangoon does doesn't always work against certain players, and that's just something he's gonna have to work on and find counters to counters, moves upon moves, and that sort of stuff. And then Jabari inconsistent. Um, just bad luck and inconsistency from this Rockets team. And it's sort of, as somebody who was a believer, I was like, this Rockets team is going to be really good. And they are really good. They're 39-24, but something just feels so freaking off about this team. And it's just like, it's just not going anywhere. You're kind of slipping in the conference. You've fallen back to the Timberwolves, who I like the Timberwolves way more than I like the Rockets. I don't think I would have said that in the preseason stuff I did. The Spurs obviously I didn't think the Spurs were gonna be this good, so that's a gimme. They get that one. They were never gonna be better than Oklahoma, and now you're treading water down here. You're avoiding the play-in still, but like you're treading water with the Lakers, Denver, Houston. All these teams have their little individual issues, and I think the Rockets have the worst of it. Because you got no MVP. I mean, you have an older MVP in Kevin Durant, but he's not in his prime anymore. You know, you can't ask him to give you 30 every night. That's what Ahmed and that's what Shangun is there for. At least the Lakers, they got they got Luka Doncic. MVP caliber player. They got uh, LeBron James when he decides to play, and the Denver Nuggets have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, and it's like, okay, these other teams I can kind of see, but this Rockets team, oh man. Um, Moving on here to the last game we're gonna deep dive on. A hell of a game. A a hardwood classic, some might say, and we got treated to this matchup a couple games ago as well. And we're back here again talking about the Denver Nuggets versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Denver Nuggets lost this game 126 to the Oklahoma City Thunder's 129. And this was a classic game. They gave us another one. I want to see this in the playoffs so bad again. I am afraid the outcome might be the same, that Oklahoma might just beat the brakes off these guys, but the games are going to be entertaining. Um, this team, fully healthy, once again, the Denver Nuggets, featuring Jamal Murray, Christian Braun, Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. Three people in double digits, three people with 20 plus points. Nikola Jokic, 32 points, Jamal Murray, 21, Aaron Gordon, 23, 10 rebounds for Aaron Gordon as well. Nikola Jokic with a triple double, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and Jamal Murray with a little bit of a stinky game. So it was a little stinky. 9 for 23 from field goal and 0 of 4 from three. And he did it so covertly that you weren't really concerned about it. And then when it came down to crunch time, you're like, where's Jamal Murray? Where is he? He did not have the ball in his hands at the end of the game. Obviously, that was reserved for Nikola Jokic, who at the end of this game knocked a three down. And was it Aaron Gordon? Or was it somebody took a charge from somebody else, and the basket counted, and the Thunder were in the bonus, so the Nuggets got a extra free throw there, so they tied the game, and then Shai Alexander came down and hit a three, which he was hitting all night. He's not a normal 3-point shooter. You know, he doesn't take him at a high volume. He works in the mid range. He gets to the basket. But this night he was feeling it, and you can see in the bottom right there, that's the final shot to win the game. Not great. Not a great look for this Nuggets team, who tried so hard. They were trying so hard. They tried so hard this game, and they lost to Shai Alexander and friends. Like I told you guys when we was talking about that Golden State Warriors game versus the same Oklahoma City Thunder team. It was Shai and the guys, the role players, Isaiah Joe, Jalen Williams, Jayln Williams, Lou Zhang Dort, and Kason Wallace. Jared McCain also stepped up. AJ Mitchell also stepped up, 13 and 24 um, individually. And this game made me so worried, because it's like, if this Nuggets team, fully healthy, can't beat a Oklahoma City Thunder team without their two starting bigs, then who can beat them? You know, we'll go through it again. I mean, like, there's Oklahoma, and that's tier one. Like, tier two is then like San Antonio, Minnesota, and then like tier three is like Houston, Los Angeles, Denver. And I get so worried, because like, I personally don't like the way Shai Alexander plays basketball. But the way this Oklahoma City Thunder team plays basketball, sans like all the dirty plays and everything, it's incredible. It's spotless. There's no like hole. There's no hole. There's like, we're gonna shoot a bunch of threes. We're gonna play some good defense. You know, some, if you're a bad defender, guess what? You're just an okay defender now. You know, you go from okay just to, or you go from bad to okay on this team, because everybody helps each other. The defense is amazing. Sans the dirty stuff again. Um, and they're just they're just on a different level. And Denver almost got this one. And I don't know what you can go back to the drawing board if you're Denver, and say, what can we do better? I mean, you could ask Cam Johnson to hit a couple threes, ask Christian Braun to be a little bit better. Tim Hardaway even showed up, 28 points, 10 of 16, 8 of 12 from three. You can't. It's tough, man. This Thunder team. This is what everybody was talking about in the preseason, where it's like, this team is so deep. Even if they aren't healthy, they're gonna win some of these games where they shouldn't win, and they're gonna be able to keep their head above water, and they're gonna be the top team in the West again. Again, and like I said, even though the Spurs are looming, the gap is still there. Um, and this game was like sort of the culmination of the whole season, of like, this Thunder team hasn't been healthy. This guy's been out. That guy's been out. Shai's been out. and they still managed to win games against really, really good teams. And like I said with the tier 1, 2, and 3, those are teams that are just out of the play-in. They're going from out of the play-in to like really good, top bottom to top. I don't see how, unless there's some lucky matchup or there's like somebody has a crazy series where this Oklahoma City Thunder loses 4 games in a row. I would be impressed. I'd be stunned. Um, so yeah, that's it. The other game from that night, last night, New York versus the Clippers, 118 to the Clippers 126. Um, Very weird game, but an awesome game for the Clippers. They continue to be sort of awesome. Brooke Lopez came out of cryo sleep, gave you 16 points, 3 of 5 from 3, hit some very important threes. Derek Jones, back and healthy, 100%, 16 points. Kawhi Leonard, 29. Chris Dunn, 5. And then Darius Garland, getting to actually see Darius Garland play basketball as like a guy in his prime without like the constrictions of like playing with Donovan Mitchell or like playing with Evan Mobley and just getting out there to be on like just a team that has nothing to lose out there is amazing. 23 points, 7 assists, um, 2 steals for Darius Garland. And the Knicks struggle again against I don't want to say a bad Clippers team, but like a middling Clippers team. And they just can't seem to string these games together where everybody plays well. The games where everybody plays well are few and far between. You get like 3 or 2 guys that play well in this Knicks team. That particular night it was 2 guys: Jalen Brunson 28, OG Anunoby 22, Karl Anthony Towns 35, and then Mikal Bridges didn't show up 7 points. So you just need to be more consistent. And then Landry Shamet 9, he didn't show up either. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. I don't know what's planned for the rest of the week. We'll see. There'll be another NBA video, I promise. But obviously, as you've seen on the channel, we're mixing up a little bit, some college stuff, some women's college, some men's college stuff. We're heading into March Madness, so there will be a little decline on the frequency of NBA videos, but you will still get them. Even if I do have to make videos about games that happened on Friday, on Tuesday, um, you guys will get my opinions and my thoughts and everything. And the outro should be playing right about now. Um, I'm trying out this new outro stuff. Check out the video to your left. Check out the playlist to your right. It's probably going to be the NBA Hot Topics or the Hot Topics playlist. It's probably going to be an NBA video about something, or it might be another video. Check it out. It's on your screen right now. You can click right on it. You can also click on my little tab, my little logo on your screen right now. If you want to subscribe, you can click it. It will bring up the little feature so you guys can subscribe. Um, and you can like the video as well. So do all that stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.